Education is not the learning of fact, it's rather the training of the mind to think. With this quote from Albert Einstein, I welcome you to another edition of this wonderful program on radio, Education Today. Education Today is a program that aims to call attention of the public to education matters as they affect the effective running of the educational system and the achievement of educational goals. This comes on air every Saturday from 3 o'clock to 4 p.m. West African time on this station, Light Radio. I am AREMU SAHEED. And with me is
AFUNLEHIN RASHIDAT.
Our goal is to educate, inform, orientate, and entertain the society on educational matters, address issues affecting the educational system, influence public opinion, and drive effective educational policy directions to guide the formulators and implementers. For your comments, questions, and contributions, you can reach us on Facebook via www.facebook.com/lightradio, Twitter at The Light Radio, Instagram light_radio, on YouTube at Light Radio, and you can also call or send a message to us via SMS or WhatsApp on 0809 738 4000. I take that again, 0809 738 4000. In order to reward those who listen and watch us live, you have an opportunity to win fantastic prizes on our short quiz segment. Listen on and watch out for the simple question, so it could be your turn to win this week. We'll go on a quick break. When we return, the program continues. Please stay with us. If you are just joining in, you are listening to Education Today on Light Radio. We kick off with the news segment. And to do that for us is Rashida. Hello. Hi, Rashida.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, please.
This is the news on Education Today. Reaching you live from Light Radios. I am AFUNLEHIN RASHIDAT. First, the headlines. WAEC released 2022 WAEC results. Nigerian universities capable of solving the nation's challenges, says Okebukola. Poor quality education makes 4 million Nigerian students drop out, UNICEF. Kano Varsity gifts free education to physically challenged person. UNILAG gets acting registrar. Okaoma parents begin legal fight against first publicly funded Catholic school in the US. Now the details. Former Executive Secretary, National University Commission (NUC), Professor Peter Okebukola, has disclosed that Nigerian universities have the capacity to provide 40% solution to the nation's challenges and attainment of sustainable development goals. Okebukola, who stated this while delivering this year's convocation lecture of Babcock University, Lisan, said the pathway to achieving this was by strengthening research capacity of lecturers through in-country and international training experiences, equipping research laboratories and workshops, and providing sizable grants for quality research. On the future of quality in the university system, Okebukola said it is driven by a multiplicity of factors, including the curriculum, teacher quality and motivation, curriculum delivery, quality of governance and resourcing. Happily, NUC now has in place the core curriculum and minimum academic standard with 30% content from each university to reflect institutional uniqueness. This leaves us with several other quality variables which we should attend to with greater vigor in the next 5 years, he explained. On the university, he said data shared He said data shared with him by NUC confirmed that the school is in the top tier of the 263 institutions presently in the country. Former Executive Secretary of the National University Commission, Professor Julius Okeje, has criticized the federal and state governments over lack of effective and faithful implementation of free education in Nigeria in line with the provisions of the Universal Basic Education Program. He insisted that both primary and secondary level of education in the country must make education free and compulsory in letters and in action, saying that it is disheartening to hear that some people still learn under trees in some parts of the country. Okoje spoke in Abuja at the launch of Thomas Agnes Christian Okoje Tako Charity Foundation, named after his parents and wife, noting that parents are still paying outrageous fee in the private schools, while public schools continue to increase charges on a daily basis. According to him, basic and secondary education systems have not been made free because of lack of appropriate structure, and as such, proffering solutions to some of these needs are what propelled him to do more for the children in this regard. In conclusion, he promised to devote full time to the education of the girl child, make boreholes for the institution and for the institutions that don't have, as well as attend to the health condition of the people in the villages. The United Nations Children's Fund have said poor quality education is pushing 4 million Nigerian children between primary 1 and JSS 3 to drop out annually. The UNICEF Chief of Field Office in the Northeast Nigeria, Fongting Ungie, disclosed this at the Foundational Literacy and Numeracy Seminar in Maiduguri on Wednesday, saying that 1/3 of the teachers in the Northeast are not qualified to teach. Guyen noted that currently there are 1.6 million children out of schools in the Northeast, while 70% of Nigerian children cannot read with meaning or solve simple math problems. Also speaking at the seminar, the UNICEF Children of Education, Saada Pandey Sobrayan, said Nigeria has a severe learning crisis, with 3 out of 4 children being unable to read or solve a simple math problem. This not only hobbles children's opportunity to learn higher order skills, but is also fueling the out-of-school problem through high levels of dropout. Kano Varsity gives free education to physically challenged persons. Lastly, she advised that quality problem in learning if we are to solve the out-of-school pandemic in Nigeria. The Saadatu Rimi University of Education, Kano, has announced an offer of free education to physically challenged persons. Its Vice Chancellor, Professor Yahaya Bunkure, has said. Bunkure made this known while receiving the leaders of the State Correspondents Chapel of Nigerian Union of Journalists who visited him. According to him, the institution is running a partial free education system, as tuition fee is free for all students, including indigenes and non-indigenes, as well as those with physical deformity. The policy is said to be initiated by the former governor of the state, Rabiu Musa Kwakwanso. He also stated that the registration fee in the institution is among the cheapest in the country. For NCE, registration fee in the institution is 15,200 naira, while degree program are charged between 23,000 naira to 27,000 naira. According to him, the institution will also be ready to absorb students who dropped out from other universities because of the exorbitant registration and tuition fee. However, he said the university would be guided by the admission policy and limits prescribed by the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board (JAMB). The Vice-Chancellor, who appealed to corporate organizations and philanthropists to support the university with funding, however, commended the state and federal governments for their support. He particularly expressed gratitude to the Tertiary Education Trust Fund for its consistent support to the funding and development of the institution. The University of Lagos has on Tuesday evening appointed Esther Makinde as the university's acting registrar. Makinde's appointment followed the expiration of the tenure of the immediate past registrar, Ismaila Oladejo, on July 31, 2023. A statement issued by the institution, which was made available to newsmen, said Makinde's appointment was with immediate effect. There has been a leadership transition in the registry of the University of Lagos, with the end of the 5-year tenure of Ismaila Oladejo Azeez ESQ on Monday, July 31, 2023. He was appointed registrar and secretary to the governing council of the University of Lagos on Thursday, June 28, 2018, and served the university meticulously. Thus, the Vice-Chancellor, on behalf of the management, staff and students, congratulates Ismaila Oladejo Azeez and wishes him continued success in his future endeavors. Speaking on the new registrar, the statement said, meanwhile, Mrs. Olakunle Esther Makinde has been appointed acting registrar of the University of Lagos. Her appointment takes immediate effect. Mrs. Olakunle Esther Makinde is a seasoned administrator whose record of exemplary service spans various sections of the registry. She was, until her appointment, the acting director of academic affairs. The Vice-Chancellor, on behalf of the management, staff, and students, congratulates Mr. Olakunle Esther Makinde and wishes her a successful tenure of office. And on the foreign scene, a long-expected lawsuit has arrived to fight the creation of the country's first religious charter school. The case, filed Monday in Oklahoma Country District Court, kicks off likely years of litigation to examine the possibility of publicly funded religious school, starting with St. Israel of Seville Catholic Virtual School. The Oklahoma Parent Legislative Action Committee, a nonpartisan public school advocacy group, joins 9 other parents, faith leaders, and public education advocates in filing the law case. They contend a Catholic charter school and would contradict state law and ask a district judge to block St. Israel of Seville from opening and receiving state funds. You can't use people's tax dollar to promote or establish religion, one of the plaintiffs, the Reverend Lori Walker, told the Oklahoman. That is what is being attempted right now. Meanwhile, Catholic officials contend chartered schools are private schools. Despite their reliance on taxpayer dollar, and a faith-based institution shouldn't be excluded from the state's chartered school funding. Critics have also argued that the concept of a government-funded religious school violates the separation of church and state and could result in discrimination against certain groups. And lastly, the plaintiffs are represented by local attorneys and national group the American Civil Liberties Union, the Freedom from the Religion Foundation, and Americans United for Separation of Church and State. That's all on news today, but before we go, another look at major stories. WAEC release 2022 WAEC results. Nigerian varsity capable of solving the nation's challenges, says Okebukola. Poor quality education makes 4 million Nigerian children drop out, UNICEF. Kano Varsity gives free education to physically challenged person. UNILAG gets acting registrar. Oklahoma parents begins legal fight against first publicly funded Catholic school in the US. That is the news. It was compiled by Neema Ibrahim and edited by Olubukumi Kazim. I am AFUNLEHIN Rashidat. For coverage of your educational events, seminars, conferences, fairs, competitions, among others, you can call us on 07025074268, 07025074268, or you can send us an email via educationmediaservices@gmail.com. Thank you for listening. Lẹ́bàá lówó kẹjọ kẹtọ́ wá ẹ̀dá kúnyé ẹ̀yìn òbí wá lẹ́bàá lówó kẹjọ kẹtọ́ wá. Iṣẹ́ burúkú ni wọ́n ń ṣe tí wọ́n bá jalè wọ́n tún fọ́lé ẹ̀dá kúnyé ẹ̀yìn òbí wa lẹ́bàá lówó kẹjọ kẹtọ́ wa. Iṣẹ́ burúkú ni wọ́n ń ṣe tí wọ́n bá jalè wọ́n tún fọ́lé ẹ̀dá kúnyé ẹ̀yìn òbí wa lẹ́bàá lówó kẹjọ kẹtọ́ wa. Ẹ̀dá kúnyé ẹ̀yìn òbí wa lẹ́bàá lówó kẹjọ kẹtọ́ wa.
That's all we can take on the news for today. Right now, we will take the icon of the week, still with Rashida Afunlehin.
You are welcome to the Icon of the Week segment, where we consider the life and times of individuals that lived inspiring lives and contributed immensely to educational development in the world. I am AFUNLEHIN Rashidat. Our icon for this week is Sir Isaac Newton. Newton was an English mathematician, physicist, astronomer, alchemist, theologian, and author who was described in his time as a natural philosopher. He was a key figure in the scientific revolution and the Enlightenment that followed. Isaac Newton was born on January 4, 1643. At Worstrop Manor in Worstrop by Coastal Worth, a hamlet in the county of Lincolnshire, England. His father, a farmer also named Isaac Newton, had died 3 months before he was born prematurely. His mother was Anna Acuff. When Newton was 3, his mother remarried and went to live with her new husband. the Reverend Barnabas Smith, leaving her son in the care of his maternal grandmother, Margaret Acuff. Newton's mother had three children, Mary, Benjamin, and Anna, from her second marriage. Education. From the age of about 12 until he was 17, Newton was educated at the King's School in Grantham, which he taught Latin and ancient Greek, and probably imparted a significant foundation of mathematics. He was removed from the school and returned to Worcester by Closterworth by October 1659. His mother, widowed for the second time, attempted to make him a farmer, an occupation he hated. Henry Stokes, master at the King's School, persuaded his mother to send him back to school. He became the top-ranked student, distinguishing himself mainly by building sundials and models of windmill. In June 1661, Newton was admitted to Trinity College at the University of Cambridge. At the time, Cambridge teachings were based on those of Aristotle, whom Newton read along with then. More modern philosophers, including Descartes, and astronomers such as Galileo Galilei and Thomas Street, he set down in his notebook a series of questionnaires about mechanical philosophy as he found it. In 1665, he discovered and generalized the binomial theorem and began to develop a mathematical theory that later became calculus. Soon after Newton obtained his B.A. degree at Cambridge in August 1665, the university temporarily closed as a precaution against the Great Plague. Although he had been undistinguished as a Cambridge student, Newton's private studies at his home in Worcester over the next 2 years saw the development of his theories on calculus, optics, and the law of gravitation. In 1667, Newton returned to the University of Cambridge, and in October, he was elected as a minor fellow. His academic work impressed the Lucasian professor Isaac Barrow. He constructed the first reflecting telescope in 1668, and the following year he received his Masters of Arts degree and took over as Cambridge Lucasian Professor of Mathematics on the Barrow's recommendation. Asked to give a demonstration of his telescope to the Royal Society of London in 1671, Newton was elected a Fellow of the Royal Society in 1672 and published his notes on optics for his peers. Through the experiment with refraction, Newton determined that white light was a composite of all the colors on the spectrum, and he asserted that light was composed of particles instead of waves. His method drew sharp rebuke from the established society member Robert Hooke, who was unsparing again with Newton follow paper in 1671, known for his temperamental defense of his work. Newton engaged in heated correspondence with Hooke, suffering a nervous breakdown and withdrawing from the public eye in 1678. In the following years, he returned to his earlier studies on the forces governing gravity and dabbled in alchemy. In 1684, English astronomer Edmund Halley paid a visit to the secluded Newton. Upon learning that Newton had mathematically worked out the elliptical path of celestial body, Halley urged him to organize his notes. The result was the 1687 publication of Philosophiae Naturalis Principia Mathematica, meaning Mathematical Principles of Natural Philosophy, which was established the three laws of the motion and the law of universal gravity principle propelled Newton to stardom in intellectual circles, eventually earning universal acclaim as one of the most important works of modern science. His work was a foundational part of the European Enlightenment. With his newfound influence, Newton opposed the attempts of King James II to reinstitute Catholic teaching at English universities. King James II was replaced by his Protestant daughter Mary and her husband William of Orange as part of the Glorious Revolution of 1688, and Newton was elected to represent Cambridge in Parliament in 1689. Newton moved to London permanently after being named Warden of the Royal Mint in 1696. He took charge of the England's Great Recoining and secured the job of the Deputy Controller of the temporary Chester branch of Edmund Halley. Newton became perhaps the best-known master of the mint upon the death of Thomas Halley in 1699, a position he held for the last 30 years of his life. Determined to prove his position wasn't merely symbolic, Newton moved the pound sterling from the silver to the gold standard and sought to punish counterfeits. With the death of the Hook in 1703, Newton was made president of the Royal Society and an associate of the French Académie des Sciences. The following year, he published his second major work, Optics, composed largely from his earlier notes on the subject. The book detailed Newton's painstaking experience with refraction and the color spectrum, closing with his ruminations on such matters as energy and electricity. In April 1705, he was knighted by Queen Anne of England during a royal visit to Trinity College, Cambridge. Newton was the second scientist to be knighted after Francis Bacon. Around this time, the debate over Newton's claims to originating the field of calculus exploded into a nasty dispute. Newton had developed his concept of fluxing differentials in the mid-1660s to account for celestial orbit. Though there was no public record of his work, in the meantime, German mathematician Gottfried Leibniz formulated his own mathematical theories and published them in 1684. As president of the Royal Society, Newton oversaw an investigation that ruled his work to be the foundation basis of the field. But the debate continued even after Leibniz's death in 1716. Researchers later concluded that both men likely arrived at their conclusions independent of one another. Newton was also an ardent student of alchemy, history, and religious doctrines, and his writings on those subjects were compiled into multiple books that were published posthumously. Death. Having never married, Newton spent his later years living with his niece, Catherine Barton, at Cabrine Park near Westchester, England. He died in his sleep on March 31, 1727, and was buried in Westminster Abbey among queens and kings. He is also the first scientist to be buried in the abbey. He had divested much of his estate to relatives during his last years and died intestate. His paper went to John Cornbutte and Catherine Barton. Legacies. A giant even among the brilliant minds that drove the scientific revolution, Newton is remembered as a transformative scholar, inventor, and writer. He eradicated any doubt about the heliocentric model of the universe by establishing celestial mechanics. His precise methodology, giving birth to what is known as the scientific method. Although his theories of space-time and gravity eventually gave way to those of Albert Einstein, and his work remains the bedrock on which modern physics was built. The SI-derived unit of force is named the Newton in his honor. Newton Monument, 1731, can be seen in Westminster Abbey, at the north of the entrance to the choir against the choir screen, near his tomb. From 1978 until 1988, an image of Newton appeared on Series D €1 banknote, and last to be issued by the Bank of England. Newton was shown on the reverse of the note, holding a book accompanied by a telescope, a prism, and a map of the solar system. A statue of Isaac Newton looking at an apple at his feet can be seen at the Oxford University Museum of Natural History. A large bronze statue, Newton, dominates the Pizza of the British Library in London. A bronze statue of Newton was erected in 1858 in the center of Grantham, where he went to school, prominently standing in front of the Grantham Guildhall. The still surviving farmhouse at Woolstrop by Coastal Walk is a grade 1 listed building by the Historic England, through being his birthplace and where he discovered gravity and developed his theories regarding the refraction of light. Some of Isaac Newton's notable quotes include, "If I have seen further, it is by standing on the shoulders of giants. What we know is a drop, what we don't know is an ocean. Gravity explains the motion of the planet, but it cannot explain who set the planet in motion. No great discovery was ever made without a bold guess." That is all on the Icon of the Week segment. I am AFUNLEHIN Rashidat. Education today continues. Please stay with us.
That was the Icon of the Week. We celebrate the great scientist, mathematician, physicist, and of course inventor Sir Isaac Newton. Right now, we will take the profession of the week. Hello and welcome to the profession of the week segment. I am your host for this segment, SAHEED AREMU. Here, we x-ray a particular profession or field of human endeavor within the educational sector, and I will be telling you what it is about, the knowledge and educational qualifications required for admission into tertiary institutions, the years of training required, and schools that have the accreditation to offer discourses. Today, we'll be looking at music. Music is a form of artistic expression that involves the organization of sound elements such as rhythm, melody, harmony, and timbre to create emotional and aesthetic experiences. It is a universal language that transcends cultural boundaries and has been an integral part of human culture for centuries and even millennia. Music can be performed vocally or through instruments and encompasses various genres and styles, from classical to contemporary, folk to electronic. It has the power to evoke emotion, tell stories, and convey ideas, making it a dynamic and multifaceted art form that resonates with individuals the world over. The study of music involves exploring its theoretical foundations, history, composition, performance, and cultural significance. Music can be categorized into different disciplines, including music theory, which is the study of musical elements and structures, musicology, the scholarly examination of music's history and cultural context, ethnomusicology, which is the study of music in cultural and social context, and music performance, the art of creating and presenting music to an audience. Through creativity, technical skill, and cultural awareness, musicians contribute to the rich tapestry of human expressions and creativity. Careers in music offer a range of opportunities for individuals passionate about creating, performing, and studying music. Some common career paths in music include musician, performer. Musicians perform live or in recording studios, showcasing their talent as instrumentalist, vocalist, or both. They may work as solo artists, members of bands, orchestras, or ensembles, entertaining audiences and conveying emotions through their music. Music composer or arranger. This creates original compositions or arrange existing music to suit different genres, instruments, or ensembles. They work on film scores, television soundtracks, advertisements, and various other projects that require musical compositions. You can be a music educator or teacher and provide instructions in schools, colleges, or private lessons. You can teach students of all ages how to play instruments, read music, and appreciate music theory. Some may also conduct school choirs or orchestras. Music producers. These oversee the recording, mixing, and production of musical works. They work closely with artists to achieve desired sound qualities, select instruments, and ensure that the final product meets artistic and technical standards. According to the United States Bureau of Labor Statistics, the median annual wage for musicians and singers was $34,860 as of May 2020. However, it is important to note that the earnings for musicians and related careers can vary widely based on factors such as genre, skill level, performance opportunities, and individual market demand. Music professionals often supplement their income through live performances, royalties, music teaching, and other music-related activities. To study music in Nigeria, admission requirements may vary depending on the university and program. Typically, candidates seeking admission into a music program at the undergraduate level must have a minimum of 5 credits in the West African Senior School Certificate Examination (WAS), including English language, mathematics, and music. Admission to the UTME Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination requires candidates to meet the specified UTME subject combination, which often includes music and any 2 other relevant subjects. Several universities in Nigeria offer music as a course of study. Some prominent institutions include the University of Lagos, of course, Obafemi University, Ile-Ife, University of Nigeria, Nsukka, the Ahmadu University. These universities provide undergraduate and postgraduate programs in music, offering students the opportunity to develop a strong foundation in music theory, performance, composition, and music education. That's all we can take on the portion of the week segment. Education continues after this short break. Please stay with us.
ọmọ tí kò gba ẹ̀kọ́ ó dá mi lójú pé yóò jìyà iṣẹ́ burúkú ni wọ́n ń ṣe tí wọ́n bá jalè wọ́n wá tún fọ́lé ẹ̀dàkùn yé ẹ̀yin òbí wa lẹ́bàá lówó kẹjọ kẹtọ́ wa iṣẹ́ burúkú ni wọ́n ń ṣe tí wọ́n bá jalè wọ́n wá tún fọ́lé ẹ̀dàkùn yé ẹ̀yin òbí wa lẹ́bàá lówó kẹjọ kẹtọ́ wa ẹ̀dàkùn yé ẹ̀yin òbí wa lẹ́bàá lówó kẹjọ kẹtọ́ wa.
You are still on to Education Today, and we are moving into the discourse segment. Already, our guest is here with us, and we shall be taking a look at the effect of full subsidy removal on school operations. First, the background. On 29th May 2023, a new administration led by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu was sworn in. In his inauguration speech, the president announced the removal of fuel subsidy. In his actual words, he said fuel subsidy is gone. In reaction, the price of petrol, which determines the cost of transportation and other items in the economy, has tripled, worsening the inflation situation in the country. One of those sectors affected by this economic decision the most is education. The operational cost of schools has increased, leading to staff increment in school fees, demand for higher wages by teachers and other staff, and many parents contemplating change of schools for their children to cheaper ones. With less quality and conducive environment, what can school owners and administrators do to mitigate the effect of the fuel subsidy removal to remain in business and retain their students and staff? This and many more will be concerned in today's episode of the program. Joining us for the discussion today is an education practitioner, a consultant and school administrator, Prince MOSHOOD ADIGUN. Good afternoon, sir, and welcome to Education Today.
Good afternoon, good day. I'm very happy to be here at Light Radio.
Remember you can be part of the discourse by sending your comments and questions to 0809-738-4000 or drop your comments via the live video feeds on Facebook and YouTube. Before moving into the discourse proper, our short quiz question. In what year and at what age did Sir Isaac Newton die? I repeat, in what year and at what age did Sir Isaac Newton die? Send your answer to the WhatsApp number 0809-738-4000 or our Facebook or YouTube page. The first correct answer, remember, wins the prize. So how would you react to the removal of fuel subsidy by the Nigerian government?
Okay, well, it's something that we did not expect at that point in time, but we just have to accept it in good faith, irrespective that the former administration of President Muhammadu Buhari have given us insights that hopefully or likely by the month of June that subsidy is going to be reviewed. But on the day of inauguration, where the present administration, led by the President Asiwaju Bola Ahmed, announced that the subsidy has gone. So announcing it that day, because I was watching it live, was not really the issue. But the issue was the effects, the immediate effects after the announcement. I remembered that that May 29 was a Monday. Then on Tuesday, the effect started on the road. Transportation, people have to be stranded. I could remember on my way going from Iyanuru to Obalinde, I can hear the transporter calling Obalinde 1,700. So, and everybody was like, even some people they have to trek from the Iyanuru to Third Mainland Bridge. So in Lagos State. So it's terrible. The effect is much.
Actually, I think the fuel prices were increased like that exact same day the announcement was made.
Yes.
Yeah, so the decision came in the middle of the third term in May, right? So how did they affect the activities of schools?
Yes, it really affected us. As I said, it was that week supposed to be the week of midterm. After midterm, we are just resuming. And even most of the students, they cannot come to school the second day of that inauguration because especially those of them, they have to come through transportation. So that is number one. It affected students, affected parents. It's also affected the staff, the teachers. So some of them, they have to abscond from work for that day because they cannot avoid the transportation fee.
Interesting.
So it really affected not even education, not only the teachers, everybody. So it has a great impact on the economy generally.
Yeah, I can relate. I mean, but the thing is though, I feel like we also be prepared for this. Like we saw it coming. All the candidates campaigned with it that they were all going to move for subsidy and all. So this coming, so did they not see this coming, and did they factor that in the budget for the term?
Well, the truth is that as a school administrator, we normally do timely budgets. We do sessional budget. We have 3 terms in a session. And even before the issue of subsidy, we are battling with the issue of changing the cashless policy, the changings of the new Naira notes. If you should remember, the CBN gave a deadline of December before they extended it. And by January, February, that has really affected most of the schools. Even before the case of subsidy, most of the parents that are supposed to pay school fees, they will tell you that no cash. They went to bank, they are struggling in the bank. So we are battling with that, trying to look at things. And even then, we don't have in plan, we don't have in budget that we are going to face such scenario. Before the scenario, that's supposed to be second term. On getting to the third time, then the case of subsidy came in. In fact, it was terrible for the those people in the education sector, especially the private school. Very, very terrible. So we just have to be calm with the parents. The agitation was high. Everybody was very emotional, nervous. The parents, the administrator, the teachers. So it has to do with the grace of God to manage the situation at that point in time. So it was a very tough time. But glory be to God, because that is not the first time we are going to experience such. If you remember, in 2020, we experienced the issue of COVID-19.
Yeah, there was COVID-19
So it was
pandemic.
around that time too. It happened around March. So we are going to end second term, going to third term. At the end of the day, some schools, they have to collapse. They don't even do the third term. Some teachers were crying on social media. They don't have salary, no money.
Private
So
schools particularly.
you can see. So we have somebody that, something that is more severe, that of COVID-19. Now the issue of changing of Naira note and the issue of subsidy, so it's something that we feel that we can easily manage with our experience and expertise.
Okay.
So, but it has a great effect on the school.
Okay. No, now that the time is over, I believe, right? I mean, we started we haven't started a new one.
Yes.
Yeah,
We are starting by September. We are in holiday now.
So
yes.
Yeah, what part would this have on school operations for next session? Like for this session, what are
the truth is that it's going to have great impact. The economy is very tense, and it has affected two major basic aspects when you talk about clothing, food, education. And it just like what we find ourselves now is not that we don't believe in the present administration. We all have we have the intention of renew hope, and that is why many of us, we are trying to be patient.
Yeah, that's what
we are trying
promised.
to be. Nigeria is a praying country, both Christian and Muslim. We always believe in prayer, and we have tried to be calm. Even when NLC declared that people should go on strike, you see that most of the time we always relax to do things. But the truth is that it has really affected us. Now we are in the end of third term. Many parents are thinking of going to public school because they cannot cope
with the increase in fees, right?
Even before the issue of subsidy, some of them have been withdrawing because they can't cope with the issue of cashless. Some business have run down, they cannot cope again. And now the issue of subsidy, everything, even in terms of food, everything is becoming higher. Even most of the schools, they are increasing their school fees. So by September, what the experience we are going to have now is that most of the bill that parents are going around to collect now, so it's going to be higher. Even some high institutions, they have increased their school fees. I'm aware of that of Unilag. So they are paying like 20,000, 30,000, it's now 100,000.
I'm saying something like actually.
Okay, that's good. So you can see that is high institution.
Yeah,
now
about 500% increase.
You can see. Ditto to the junior secondary, nursery and primary, and I don't know. Government need to assist the educational sector in this regard, because it's a serious case.
Yeah, parents came to me and said they can't cope with this increase in the school fees of their child, or should I say their children. Like, how old is the child? Maybe a 5-year-old boy or something, paying about 160,000 or so for school fees. I was very surprised. Like, I mean, that's the amount I'm supposed to be paying in the university, and I'm like 3 times or so his age. So how can a boy of 7 years be paying that amount of money?
You are very correct. The truth is that it's going to affect the developing school most in developing school. So what I mean by developing school are school, especially the private school, that they are just developing.
Yeah.
So they are just in between, because there will be a transformation. People will be moving to low-cost school, and maybe at the end of the day they have to populate the so-called mushroom school. So they have to go to maybe the school in the church or in the mosques, so to patronize them if they cannot cope, and the standard of education may easily affect the child.
Actually.
So
anyway, Kukon, yeah, he said he was going to change his children's school fees. I would like to know, if all parents decide that, what will be the impact on, say, schools for that matter? If parents decide to withdraw their children from...
the truth is that the impact will be great. Some of the teachers will lose their job. Many schools will collapse, and the school will close down. Even as an administrator too, I mean, even lose my job. Because when there is no more school, so the government should get ready. The public school is going to be populated. So
actually,
now is populated already. So they are even looking for more teachers. They don't have enough, even the facilities,
the infrastructure.
So
Yes,
they are just trying to standardize it. They are trying, but at least the private sector, the private schools, they are trying to assist the government by trying to accommodate the labor force in teaching and trying to accommodate the population of the students, either from primary to secondary. So it's only the tertiary that we don't have much of the private sector going into it. So
okay, thank you for that insight. As a school administrator yourself, right, how would you respond to demands for increase in school fees, demand for increase in wages and salaries by teachers and all?
Okay, well, before I got here, I was coming from a board meeting that has to do with analysis of the event that we faced during the second, third term. And the truth is that teachers, they are ready to migrate. Even some of them have written letter of increment that they can't cope again with their family, with transportation hike, with the economy. They say they can't cope. So invariably, they are telling us that if you don't increase their salary, they are not resuming in September. Then parents too, some of them have collected bill, and they say, yes, we have increased the bill. I don't think they can cope, or maybe they go to public school. So it's going to really affect the school. Generally, it's going to really affect us. So we just pray that in order to balance things, if at all we are going to improve the salary of the teachers, so we need to appeal to them. They should try to understand the situation in the country. It's not a one-off something that maybe is affecting one aspect. Is everybody. And when it is affecting everybody, we have to be calm with the policy. We are in incubation state in terms of the policy of this subsidy. Even when Ashiwaju president announced it, he has not even put any palliative in place. Later, he started rolling out palliative. I know you are aware about the student loan,
yes,
SMS.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So, but what I really want to advise the government in this regard, there was a policy that was held by President Muhammadu Buhari then. So when we have the issue of COVID-19, he introduced something we call Survivor Fund, and many private schools benefited from that. So I will employ the present administration of our dear President Ashiwaju Bola Ahmed to try to look at that Survivor Fund, because then the method was that each school, they put the teachers on a roll, and they are giving them 30,000 for 6 months, some 3 months, and the teachers are collecting the money directly to their account. And it works also on so many private schools. So because this policy, this palliative, the present administration they are putting in place, I'm yet to see where they want to accommodate the education sector, especially the private school. I'm talking about the nursery and primary and secondary school. Though we have associations, we have the NAPS, we have the LIMS, they can easily liaise with them, and they normally have statutory meeting with the government. So from this, they can easily cover and try to extend to all schools, all private schools, by introducing palliative, the owner of the school, giving them incentive, giving them loan, trying to make them to be formidable, so that they'll be able to pay the salary and try to make the system work.
Okay, so I guess it's still a work in progress. I mean,
yes.
I'm trying to just stating. So we'll go on a short break now. When we return, the discussion continues. Please stay with us.
Iṣẹ́ burúkú ni wọ́n ń ṣe, tí wọ́n bá jalè wọ́n wá tún fọ́lé. Ẹ dákun yé ẹ̀yin òbí wa, tẹ́ bá lówó kẹjọ kẹtọ́ wa. Ẹ dákun yé ẹ̀yin òbí wa, tẹ́ bá lówó kẹjọ kẹtọ́ wa.
You are still listening to Education Today on Light Radio, and we are discussing the effect of fuel subsidy removal on school operations. We have an educational consultant and school administrator with us, Ms. MOSHOOD ADIGUN, as our guest, providing insight into the topic. Don't forget, you can be part of this discussion by sending your comments, questions, and contributions. You can reach us on Facebook via facebook.com/lightradio, Twitter @lightradio, Instagram @light_radio, YouTube lightradio. You can also call or send a message to us via SMS or WhatsApp on 0809 738 4000. Our short quiz: in what year and at what age did Sir Isaac Newton die? Send your answer to the WhatsApp number 0809 738 4000 or our Facebook or YouTube page. The first correct answer wins the prize. So back to you, Mr. MOSHOOD. Looking at all of this, what are the options for school owners and administrators? What can they do?
Okay, well, first and foremost, the school administrator, the owner of the school, of private school, they have to go back to the drawing board and they have to meet all stakeholders in as much as the educational sector is concerned. So the major stakeholders are the parents and the government and the teachers, and including the owner, the proprietors. So they have to review and try to harmonize things. Number one, the truth is that they have to increase salary, and the teachers need to understand. So even if it is 1% increment or 2%, the teachers, they should try to understand and try to cooperate with the increment. If I thought they are going to increase school fees too, it should not be too enormous that parents will not be able to avoid it.
That's actually very important.
So they should try to take it easy, and they should have meeting with the PTA executive and try. Everybody know the situation. The truth is that we are into it together.
Yeah.
We can feel it, we can see it, even we can breathe it. That yes, the economy is very tense, and the best thing we can do to ourselves is to cooperate and to make it, avoidable, and try to have good understanding. So let's dialogue, let's discuss, so that everybody will have input, and it will not go in a way that it will affect everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So then we have to enlighten the children, to the students, so because we want to give them the best. So we have to put in the best for them. So that's just what I can say for that.
Yeah, you mentioned something about the palliatives, and I think you welcome that idea. So okay. I would just like to ask, like, how should that be reviewed? And also, what other forms of assistance can help schools to stay afloat at this critical moment? And finally, what advice would you give anyone affected by this first subsidy removal?
Okay, well, number one is that we need to take it easy. I want to start from the last question. The truth is that everybody is affected.
Okay.
If you are not careful, you go into thinking, depression, suicidal, and especially when you are the type that you are low income earner. So the best thing is that let us be patient with the situation. Any policy in terms of removal of subsidy, so we are in the incubation stage, and when you are in incubation of any policy, it may take like 3 or 6 months, even a year. So let us be patient with the government. So far, the government is also speaking and is also trying to come up with palliative, trying to talk to us that they are on top of the situation. We may not see the effect immediately, but we need to be patient.
But in the long run, right?
Yes. Then for the school administrator and the owner of the school, as I said earlier, so we have to take the reality. We have to take the bull by the horn. These are the challenges we are facing. The way we took it when we faced COVID-19 and the issue of changing the Naira note.
Okay. So, cashless policy.
Cashless policy. Thank you very much.
Okay.
So we just have to be careful. We have to be strategic. That is the right word. So we must not lose our students, neither we lose our parents. So we have to put a policy in place that will balance things. Then we have to do a kind of continuous engagement. It might be through physical, it might be through online. So trying to connect your teacher, especially when you have the old teachers, don't avoid to toy with the old staff, because they are your tools, so they are your materials. So you have to engage them, keep them upgoing, and don't delay their salary. It's very important. Even if you are paying little, ensure you pay it to time. Then the issue of the school fees, I want to talk to the parents too. So they should always try to pay at as when due. because especially the developing school, most of the parents, they don't pay to time. You see parents in second time still owing first time, in third time still owing. Even as at now, some parents are even yet to balance. So that is the factor in developing school. But when it is developed school, you pay. Even some government, maybe say command school, model school, you may not have access to that school if you don't produce your full payment. But developing school in this part of the world, especially in the western part of Nigeria, we suffered a lot, and there are so many instances that they have sometimes the debt. When you look at their debt, going to millions, and they find it difficult to even run the school, even pay salary to the worker. So I want to employ the parents, irrespective that the school fees has been increased. They should have good understanding, good arrangement with the management of the school. They should spread it, and they should go with their. If it is monthly payment, they want to do it. If it is maybe one-off, if it is maybe by third week they are going to pay, they should have a very strong arrangement. So we should be patient with each other. That is my message for everybody, both the management, both the teacher, both the parents, and even the children. We should be patient with this scenario and situation we find ourselves. With that, we are going to smile at last.
Yeah, thank you. I think I like the idea you said about making monthly and say by monthly payment, right? So schools need to review the method by which parents actually pay their children's school fees. So thank you very much, Prince Adigun. These are actually very wonderful insights you have given us. I hope they get to the policy formulators and, of course, the policy implementers. So that's all we can. Yeah, you're welcome. So that's all we can take on the discourse segment for today. We would like to appreciate our guests for coming. We hope to have more opportunities to speak with you on other issues of concern relating to education in the future.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure coming to the Light Radio.
Okay. So before we go, as usual, our words on the marble. You're welcome to the Words of the Marble segment of Education Today, where we'll take a look at memorable quotes that are educational and inspirational to everyone. Today, we have a quote from former US President Barack Obama. According to him, we have an obligation and responsibility to be investing in our students and our schools. We must make sure that people who have the grades, the desire, and the will, but not the money, can still get the best education possible. That's our words on the marble for today. While it is necessary for the government and the people to find cost-effective means of managing education, it is an expensive venture. However, the cost of ignorance far outweighs that of education. The problems of insecurity, corruption, cybercrimes, and other social vices cannot be separated from the number of out-of-school children and the poor quality of education in the country. The current economic decisions leading to increased school fees beyond the reach of the poor masses could aggravate our condition. A word they say is enough for the wise. Before we go, the answer to our quiz question, if we have a winner. Okay, so I've just been told from the control room that we do not actually have any winner for our quiz. Anyway, Sir Isaac Newton died on March 31st, 1727 at the age of 84. Yeah, he lived a very long life. This is to inform you, our esteemed listeners, that you can advertise your product and services and also showcase your event on our program. This you can do by calling the numbers 0703 953 8998 or 0702 507 4268. Thank you very much for joining us today. Let us know how you feel about today's program through our various platforms: Facebook at facebook.com/Education Today, Twitter at Education Today, Instagram education_today, YouTube Education Today. You can also send an email to educationmediaservices@gmail.com. You can watch the video of today's program again on Facebook or YouTube via Light Radio. Please like our pages and share our videos to others. You can also listen to the repeat broadcast of the episode on Video Garden app on Wednesday between 2 and 3 p.m. West African time. Many thanks to the entire crew of Education Today and the management of Light Radio, including MC Vibes, T-Wise, and Feyishayo. The supervising producer has been SAHEED AREMU, which is of course me. Do join us same time, same station next week. I am SAHEED AREMU. See you next week. Goodbye.